everyone. Happy Friday. This is Steph Lee, the founder of Host Agency Reviews, and you are tuning in for the Friday 15, where every Friday, 12 p.m. Central Time, we answer your industry questions. And today is very, very special because, one, we have a guest we've had on many, many times, co-host Lori Speers from Levarte. Hello, Lori.
Hi, hello.
And then also exciting news. I'm sure most of you don't know this, but today's Lori's birthday. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lori. Happiest birthday to you.
Aw, thank you.
Yay. Well, I'm so excited to get to spend your birthday, a little bit of your birthday with you.
Thank you. I'm excited to spend it with you. I'm always excited to spend time with you.
I know Lori and I we do a little catching up before we go on. And it's always so fun to catch up. And it's great because for us here at HAR, it helps us get a better feel whenever we get to chat with our co-hosts a little bit before. We can like catch up on what's going on. And now we know that sales are up for 2025. Compared to 2024 for her. Her numbers are all looking good. So lots of exciting things happening over at Levarte, including you just did your Host Week interview, which if you didn't tune in for Host Week, you really should. There's something for everyone, whether you're new or experienced. There's a little bit for everyone. And of course, our fun question this year during the interviews was, what karaoke song would you serenade your travel advisor network with? I'm not going to tell you what Lori's is, but we are going to link to her Host Week interview so that you can find out and listen yourselves. So very exciting.
Yeah, you might even hear me sing some of it.
So good. We really loved, there was a few hosts that did some singing, which was kind of fun. I was hoping for more TikTok videos with synchronized dancing, but I recognize people are busy.
I should have done that. Darn.
Well, we are going to, again, link to Lori's Host Week podcast if you're interested in learning more about Levarte and their culture, what karaoke song they would sing. And then a note to everyone, we are going to be putting all the segments of Host Week into the podcast feed probably sometime next week. So keep an eye out for that. But let's get into our questions because we've got some great ones this week, Lori. We've got Pamela C asks, how do I deal with a client who is searching while I am researching, and I feel like I am in a race to find the best deal or price? Great question.
It is a great question.
What are your thoughts on this? Because
well,
I'm sure
I answer this question a lot, and I have a little bit of a different thought on it. So I'm going to share that real quick. First of all, I encourage collaboration. I encourage my clients to go out and do a little researching while I'm researching. It only helps me qualify them better and help them better. But remember, you're not always in a race for the best price. Don't think of it like that. Sell yourself, your value, what you're doing for them. Let them collaborate with you. That's part of the collaboration wheel of being a really good travel advisor is collaboration. What did you find? And then you find maybe through your consortia or your host agency, any value you can bring to that. Because that gives you, maybe you have a additional shipboard credit, or maybe you even know insight to more about if it's a cruise, specialty dining, certain short excursions. Just don't get caught up in being the best for price. Also sell yourself. And that's very important, to not discourage the collaboration, but understand you're giving them so much value just by taking this over for them, lessening their confusion, and adding your expertise.
Oh my gosh. This is so fun, Lori, because Lori and I typically don't really talk about the questions beforehand, maybe a little bit, but mine was like, don't be afraid of collaboration.
Is that why you got so excited? I
did. I was like, we're just on the same wavelength. So I 100% agree with that, like to approach it openly and honestly with your client. And I think one thing that can really help you, Pamela, is making sure to set up the expectations ahead of time on kind of the processes that you go through. So you can say like, First thing we do is we do a discovery call where we collaborate together. You tell me what you've been researching, what you're finding interesting. Then I go do research on my own. I come back with a quote. We revisit things, see where you're at, if you found anything different. We do any revisions. We do the booking. And then, afterwards, one thing you could add as well is having something that is unique to you. So like you could maybe have, if it's someone that's newer or it's a destination they haven't gone to, you could have a packing consultation on things that they need to make sure that they pack. And you may say, it's a really good idea to just bring a carry-on on this trip because of X, Y, and Z. So here's how you can pack to fit everything in here. And that kind of gives them a hook for later on for wanting to use you after the booking. But I think the other thing that can be helpful with this is charging fees once you feel comfortable with that, because that ties the person into working with you. You know that you both have skin in the game, and it makes it a lot less likely that you're going to feel like you're racing to find the best deal. But any other thoughts, Lori?
We really are on the same page. We do a training at Levarte about the collaboration wheel, and it starts with discovery. It talks about anticipation phase where I train this, where you contact them and say, there's luggage on sale at Macy's, because that's a high time for them too. This shows why you're important to them over them just booking on the internet. Although you're collaborating with research, you have to add that additional human side and value. So yeah, we're right on the same page there.
Oh my gosh, Lori.
That helped Pamela.
I'm sure it will. And Pamela, we're going to put in a few resources for you. One is our guide to charging fees, which is really helpful, gives you verbiage, talks about how much people are charging. And then the other one is Ajana Claire. She did this amazing, it was really cute during host week. She did an EduSpot on, it's redefining the value beyond commissions, the case for planning fees and travel. And it was so amazing because she was just inspirational about it. And people were in the comments. Said something like, repeat after me. Fees are not scary. I can't remember what they were. And people were in the comments like, fees are not scary. It was adorable and amazing. And people were so uplifted afterwards. So we'll link to that so you can check it out, because that'll be uplifting for you. And you'll be saying things out loud to Ajana Claire.
Awesome. I'll tell you what, these links, you guys, are the best. I am a big believer in the Host Agency Review links. It's a bunch of great information.
Thanks so much, Lori.
I'm going to share this one with our advisors afterwards because I really like that fees link.
Yeah, the Ajana Claire was really great talking about it and being like building up the case on, a lot of it's just a mental block for people, and to feel the confidence to do it. And it's like going to therapy or something. And you're just telling yourself this over and over again. Let's see. So next up, we have Cindy W. And Cindy says, hey guys, I'm wondering and Cindy, I know you wrote in and said you had this answer during host week, but we're going to go through it anyhow. So I'm wondering, what are some ideas for thank you gifts for my clients that are traveling to all-inclusives? I feel like it's easy to do gifts on cruises, and I'm not quite sure what to do for my land vacations. Do you have any ideas?
I do. First of all, when people are doing thank you gifts, I always like to remind them to be careful and don't spend all your profits. It's good to do a thank you gift. And I was trained that way. Immediately after I made the booking, I did the thank you gift, and I did a percentage of my commission. And I always did it. We know what our commission is. I do 10% of my commission for a gift. That's just my rule. And I would do it right away, so it was done. It was part of my process. Yep. It is very easy to do it for a cruise, but it can be easy doing it for a resort too. Because when you are booking with the tour operator or direct, you need to go register your booking immediately after. If you're not doing that, you need to. We want all the points we could possibly get as advisors. And when you go on there to register your booking, they'll have places that you can contact the resort directly for, maybe it's flowers in the room. Maybe it's a little bit of I usually do flowers in the room, or I'll do a little strawberries in the room, or I might even do if it's a pretty good booking, a spa credit or a resort credit. I've done that a lot of times too, depending on the size of the booking. And that's what I do. I do 10% of my commission for their gift. But be careful, because you don't want to over gift and not make profit. It's fun to do gifts, and you'll hear about agents doing gifts, but it's really more important to be smart about it.
Mm-hmm. That makes a ton of sense. And this is really funny because we actually had, again, an edge spot on this. And that's why Cindy's like, I had it answered. So Stephanie from Travify, who, if you've never, do you know Stephanie? She's so energetic.
So energetic. Yes. Love her.
So she did one on different ways to surprise and delight your clients, which was really great. And what I loved about it is she so she essentially just asked a ton of Travify users what kind of gifts they gave clients. And so she got all these ideas. And the neat thing about it was, so often with gifts, we think of like either send it beforehand, or we're going to send it when they get to the resort or to the ship. But she was also talking about gifts afterwards that you can send like as follow-up gifts, which was really neat. And there's a lot of great ideas in there. So I'm going to link to that for people. But, I've also heard of advisors. I'll link to our travel agent chatter episode we have with Book It Box Travel. And she sends, like, part of her branding is you get a box customized to your destination. Now that's all built into the price. She charges a higher consultation fee to make up for that.
Really neat.
Yeah, it's a really neat idea. And then they're really beautiful branded boxes. And depending on where the person is going, she has it specialized for gifts to that destination. And then I talked to another advisor that she did on the morning of their trip. She sends them a text message with a Starbucks gift card and says, hey, get some coffee at the airport on me for your family, for you and your family. And that's just a nice way, you're expecting to probably pick up coffee in the airport. And it's just this nice surprise. You don't have to pay for it. So there's a lot of great ideas in there, Cindy, and whoever else is looking for ideas. So check that out.
Again, great resources. Thank you for your resources. Love it.
Well, I want to say these were all other people putting them together. So I'm so appreciative of people sharing this knowledge, because it's great for all of us out there.
Well, I know. And, some of the best training we do at Levarte is when the agents share their secret sauce like this. We have a once a month training like that, because we love to hear how other people are doing it. And then we all share and collaborate on our ideas like this. So really appreciate the link and the ideas. It's going to be your own personal choice if you want to do it before, during, or after. But again, just doing it makes a difference, and making sure you don't overdo it makes a difference too.
Super important. And Lori, kudos to you for fostering that collaboration and openness amongst your advisors. I've noticed, we'll link to a webinar Lori did with some of her advisors a few months ago, where they were all kind of sharing the things they did and how they worked at Levarte. And I really loved it, because it was interesting to hear how much they collaborate. And they talked about these meetings where it's advisor led and how helpful they have been for growing their companies. So I'll link to that in the comments as well for people. I have to make a note so I don't forget.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Last question is from Pamela C again. So Pamela says, good one. So when changing host agencies, is it possible to transfer clients and vendor information without doing it individually? And then there's a follow-up. As a courtesy, should I tell the agency that I'm moving on to another host agency? So what do you tell advisors with you that might be leaving, or someone that's thinking of coming over?
Right. Let's break down this, because there's a lot of pieces to it. She talks about transferring clients. Okay. So transferring your clients from one CRM to another host agency CRM is that's one thing. And I'll talk on that. And then your vendor access, that's another thing. And then your bookings is the third piece. transferring any bookings you have over to the new agency. And whether or not you should tell the agency, this is your personal choice. My opinion is you should, and you should be open and you should let them know. And if you're at a good host, they should be willing to help you make that move. These are your clients, these are your bookings. If you are uncomfortable, are they going to keep my commission? Am I not going to see it again? Do I need to? You kind of have to know your host on this one, because some hosts are not going to pay you commission unless you keep paying to them and they think you're part of them. They'll keep the commission. So this is something you want to find out when you change hosts, what those rules are up front. At Levarte, if we have an agent that decides they want to move on to another host, we transfer their bookings. We want to be told, and we want them to be successful. Maybe we're not a good match, and we want them to go where it's a good match. And not everyone's like that. So you want to find that out when you're moving. And that's one of the things of researching your host. Transferring your clients, if you have one CRM to another, usually that's an easy transfer. CRMs are really good about that. And you should be able to make that transition real well. If there's a way you can download your clients in your current CRM on a spreadsheet, you could probably upload it in your new one. And then transferring your vendor access is always difficult. And this is why. Nothing is uniform in the travel industry. Everybody does it their own way. Usually it's very easy. You may have to get a new email is the only thing. And it could be a little tricky there. We deal with this a lot. Sometimes your training doesn't move over right away, but eventually will, where you're at with one and the other. So there are some steps involved in transitioning that you want to take into consideration before the transition. Not to say a transition isn't good for you, because I do believe these are just steps. If you find that you are going to be better at another host agency, you should make that transition, because I've seen agents grow with just a change like that. That's why you match up with one that you feel is best for you. And they're in line with your values, your bookings, everything that you need. But there is a process. And so that's what you want to, that transition process is going to take time, and you want to like map it out. So that was a lot of information.
That was perfect though. A lot of, what you said, I definitely agree with. I'm just pulling up for those that are watching on YouTube. If you're listening on the audio, you'll have to envision this. But on our travel agency software list, one of the things is you can go into the drop down under tech offered and go to CRM. So based on what CRM you're using, what you could do is ask within here, like say your CRM is Planet Easy. You can go in here and you can send them a message, or in the Q&A section, you can ask them a question and say, hi, I'm wondering like if I'm switching, say, host agencies, or if I'm going independent on my own, what are the steps involved in transferring over? Or if you're switching from, say, Travify over to Planet Easy, you can leave a question on there asking what's the process for transferring from Travify to Planet Easy or vice versa. So there's a couple different ways too you can quickly get that information. The people that are on the site are really great when questions come in on answering them. And the nice thing about asking it in the Q&A field is that other people get to see the questions that you're asking, and that helps other advisors that are out there.
And your question might already be answered in there then.
Yeah, great point too, Lori. And I really appreciated you breaking it down too on the clients, the vendor information, and all of that there's multiple components
and
to
the
it.
Actual bookings. And there's one thing I wanted to say, that on the actual bookings, you do have to let your first primary agency know, because they have to release that booking. And they have the option to release it or say they're not going to release it. So that's why a lot of agents, when they switch, stay with both until they're paid out all their commission, because maybe that agency doesn't easily release records to the new agency, your current bookings. But you want to get started with your new hosts to make future bookings. So there is a transition. I feel like anyone I've ever known that's made the transition, it's been worth it for them because they aligned with the host that was more in line with their values and what they needed. But and your host that you go to should help you with that as much as giving you advice. They don't actually do it. It's your work to get done, but to give you steps and instructions.
Yes, exactly. And with the one thing, we're going to link to a couple resources. So one is like contracts, things to look for in your contract. Because with your new host, you should be looking at the contract. And then with your host, one thing I would recommend is before you tell your host agency, your current host agency, you're leaving, if that's something you decide to do, read through the contract and understand what the process is. And what your rights are as an advisor. Because if in the contract it says we don't pay out commissions if you leave us, that's something that you signed up and agreed to. So make sure you're familiar with the contract of your current host agency, and that can inform whether or not you want to let them know. Because like Lori says, really know your host agency. Like if you feel like the relationships have soured and things aren't going well, you may or may not want to tell your host agency. Or if, you want to let them know the reason you're leaving, you love everything about them, but now you're booking only Disney and you want to go to a Disney host agency. And that is nothing that they did on their end. So there's a lot of, communication can be key in various capacities there. But other things to think about is the vendor information when Lori's talking about that, like your BDM. One thing to be aware of as well is your BDM may change depending on where your host is. And if they have a national accounts manager or a regional one, there's a lot of variations. But know if you're really in love with a certain BDM, they may or may not be your business development manager at the new host agency. And then the other thing, if there is a bunch of manual things that you need to do to transfer over, one of the things you can also look at is hiring a VA or a virtual assistant. That can be something. During Host Week, we had a couple companies that offer virtual assistants. And I believe, maybe they're not on our list. I can't remember. Hold on. We don't have VAs on our list yet, but some you can look at, and we'll link to them, are Lucia. There's For Travel Staffing, which is, they did a couple intros to EduSpots during Host Week. And I think it's like a couple $100 a month or something for having someone 10 hours a week. Like it's really affordable because they're outsourcing it to different countries, the Philippines or Kenya. And Lucia focuses, they have a lot of US based virtual assistants as well, if that's something that's important to you. So we'll link to all of those for you. And then we'll also link to our article on things to think about when switching host agencies, which will give you everything in a neatly written format. So let's see, Lori, we need to wrap things up because you got to go party and celebrate your birthday.
It's not about me on my birthdays anymore. I'm not even going to say how old I am, so don't ask. But
is it about the grandkids or
about the grandkids? I'm going to gymnastics meet. That's my birthday.
You're such a good grams. Let's see. So if people are interested in Levarte, we are going to link to your profile so they can take a look. But how else, other ways you prefer people get in touch with you?
Yeah, we have a couple ways. If you go to our website, levartetravel.com, there's a place that you can schedule a call, and we'll personally call you and have a one-on-one if you have questions, answer some of these questions we talked about today. Make sure we're the right fit for you. And then there's also a Zoom we do twice a month that you could just register for. It's called Learn Love Levarte, where it's me, and I actually am on a Zoom with usually however many people we get that month, twice a month. One's at noon, one's at 5 p.m., so it works for you. And I just talk about Levarte and what our differentiators are and what we're about and our values, so you can make an educated decision.
Perfect. Do you have the links for those somewhere that people can find them?
Yes, yes, I will.
You're like, somewhere I do. We'll get those posted up for people.
Okay.
And then, Lori, I'll work with Nicole from your team to also get those listed up on the site, on the calendar, the events calendar, so people can easily find them there too.
And they're all on our website. So if you if you go to levartetravel.com, you will see the schedule a call and you will see the Learn Love Levarte to register for both of those right on our website. Plus, we have a new website now. It just went out this week and there's lots of videos. You'll really get to know us more.
Oh, I can't wait to check it out. Very exciting. Well, thank you as always for coming on to share your knowledge, Lori. You've got decades of experience and it's so wonderful to be able to tap into that.
Thank you. I enjoy this so much. I look forward to it. It's one of my most fun things to do. And I hope we helped all the advisors with their questions.
Definitely. So for those of you that are looking for what's coming up in the future on the Friday 15, next week, which is going to be Valentine's Day, Global Travel Collection will be on. This will be their first time on the Friday 15, which will be fun. Following that, we have Vacation Planners. Jen Lee will be on. And then the week after that, which is February 28th, is going to be on Davo Travel. So if you haven't already, go to hostagencyouuse.com/Friday15. You can not only ask your questions there, but you can also sign up for the email and text alerts that will let you know who the co-host is, what the questions will be, and we'll give you a direct link to go ahead and watch the YouTube version. So that is all for us today. Lori, thank you for coming on your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm going to go have a glass of champagne right now, okay?
Excellent, excellent. And thank all of you for tuning in. We will see you next Friday, 12 p.m. Central Time.
Thank you.